Hey guys, how's it going? So in this week's video, we're going to put together a small display enclosure for one of my rough scale pythons, just to put them up inside my bedroom, just so I've got one of them to stare at for a little while during the night. Shh, don't tell the wife, but I hope you stick around and I hope you enjoy the video. So here's the little terrarium that we're going to use for this Yearling rough scale python. These weren't overly popular at work, which I was a little bit surprised about, but anyway, the dimensions are going to fit my desk quite well. It's 77 centimeters long by 30 high by 30 deep, and it's got like a little sliding roof there with a couple of pinholes that you can just put a couple of bits of metal or something through to lock them. Most of the stuff on the inside of it I'm actually not going to use, so we'll can most of that out. What I will probably use is there's a little heat map there that I'll probably stick to the bottom of it. There's a nice little water bowl, and I may use the little dome as well for lighting. What I will do though is I'm going to take this all apart, clean it all up, and for the next couple of days I'm going to let this universal rock background dry in there. I'm just going to silicone it into place and pin it down with a couple of those tiles over the back, just to give it a really nice aesthetical look along the back of the terrarium. Alright, so I've cleaned all the terrarium up, given it a bit of a once over with methylated spirits as well, and yeah, we've got the top off and a couple of pinning little locks there. I've also cut the universal rock background to size. I've got my silicone all ready. I'm going to glue this background in, and we're going to leave it probably a few days for it to go off and cure and air out and all the rest of it, and then we'll put the rest of it together. Alright, so it's been about 72 hours now, been a few days. We've let that silicone dry in really nice. It's all nice and firm. No smell to it. If it still smells like silicone, definitely don't go putting anything else in there and give it some more time to air out. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to add in this little heat map. Just get this out of the pack. So of course it's important to create a good thermal gradient for your animals in their terrariums. So a little heat mat like this is perfect, especially for something like a snake. Okay. Here we go. So it's just a little 8-watt heat mat, nothing too big. It's actually got a nice self-adhesive backing on it. So what I am going to do, and very carefully flip this enclosure up. Making sure not to scratch any of the glass or anything like that. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to put it over on this side of the terrarium, so allowing good thermal gradient from this side over to the other side. Obviously this area can be cool, this side can be warm. The other important thing to make sure is you've got a good gap underneath your terrarium, so there's a lot of airflow around, and also you don't want to be able to pinch any of the cords. So I'm just going to kind of not put it right down one end, but very close to it. Alright. There we go. So that's now in position. And that'll allow this area here to warm up nicely. So as far as substrate goes, I'm going to be following the same concept that I've been doing in the last few videos. I've got coir peat here that I've expanded. I've got some Yuki mulch. And I've got a garbage bag full of dried gum leaves that's been in the freezer, just to kill any nasties. So we'll get started. I like this stuff as a bit of a base layer. Similar sort of consistency to dirt, but can also hold a little bit of humidity. I am planning on putting a couple of plants in here, so it'll also give something for the roots to grow into. You could use like a lot of organic soils and things like that, but I haven't had an issue doing it with just coir peat. So that was one full block of it being expanded, so I made up about 9 litres in this bucket. I'm going to figure out where I want my plants. So I was thinking I was going to put one in either corner, just so then they can kind of grow over a little bit. Either that, or I might actually, just because the heat map's down this side and I don't want to be pouring water straight on top of the heat map, might put one kind of centered and then one off the other side there. So this little plant here, this is a Philodendron Florida. So it's just got some nice cool looking leaves. You've got to think where these rough scale pythons come from. Yes, they come from the Kimberleys and it gets very hot up there, but at the same time they're down inside the gorges with all the rainforest and everything down there. So it is still a tropical sort of area, so down in those gorges there would be some sort of residual water and everything that's down there all year round, and there'd also be a different humidity level compared to being on top of the gorges. So I'm going to use all the dirt that's in these pots. There doesn't seem to be any fertiliser or anything of the sort in here. Oops, knocked off a leaf there. So I'll give somewhere for these roots to grow through. And this little plant here, what do we got? I'm not sure if I can even pronounce that. A Schefflera Pitmans. Can't say I've heard of it before. I'm going to give it a go. It just looks like a nice little indoor plant. The ratings on the back are saying that it's got indirect sunlight and just a little bit of moderate water, so nothing too extreme for these guys. So that's why, the Philodendron, I've mucked around with a lot of different pothos and stuff in the past, and they've got similar sort of requirements. So this guy down the end here, at least if I can keep one side a little bit more humid, the water bowl is going to go down here as well. And kind of build it up a little bit around it. It's also not a bad idea to kind of have like a little bit of a escape to your tank as well. So, different heights of substrate and everything just kind of adds to the effect of the aesthetics. Alright, easy done. So we just got to make sure where that heat mat is, that's right there. So over the heat mat I don't want it to be too deep. So next thing, adding some of this Yuki mulch. Maybe just a centimetre or two of this coming in the front. This will also help hold the humidity down in those plants, and it'll dry out nicely on top, so then the snake's not in contact with any water or anything. So this is just a little water bowl that came with the kit. I'll probably just put it somewhere down the front. I might even just turn it around there. There we go. So for this little rough scale python, I'm actually going to use a bit of dried gum bark as a hide. Just looks a little bit more natural in my opinion than some of the pre-made products and stuff that you can get on the shelf. Just got to figure out how I want it to go in. I kind of do want to be able to see the snake even though it'll be somewhat exposed. Just to add to it as well, I've got a few dried branches that I've been storing here for a little while, waiting for a good purpose. Seems like now's a better time than any. One thing I've got to remember is I need to be able to access that water bowl and be able to get that out. So I might even twist it around this way. Get these leaves up on top as well, so I can expose them to the light. There we go. Hopefully that looks alright from your side. I think a bit of main perching is needed for this tank. It's always tricky. In your mind you get an idea, and as soon as you start kind of putting it into fruition it can change a little bit. So the last part of the scape that I'm going to put in there, just some of these dried gum leaves. I think these honestly work magic. Just kind of giving this a bit more of a natural aesthetic. So we're just going to add a little bit more life to this tank now. I'm actually just going to put in a couple of little chunks of charcoal in the back here. We've got all the springtails all through them. I'll just dig them in under the leaf litter a little bit. So springtails are just going to help break down some of the waste. I'm actually just going to pour a few of them into the enclosure as well. The other thing I'm going to add in is just a few slaters. They'll help mulch, turn all the leaf litter and everything into mulch. So the last thing before I go taking this enclosure upstairs is I'm just going to water in these plants a little bit. Not going to go too overboard with this. So here we go. I've just put the enclosure up in the bedroom. Just got a little nice sleek LED on the top here. That'll just provide enough plant growth for these low light plants. I've also got, just in that top corner there, we've got the thermostat probe going in just to control the temperature of the heat mat. So from there, all we've got to do is put our little tyke in, our little rough scale python. So before I actually go putting the python in, I will just mention that the thermostat that we're using is one of the Wi-Fi option ink birds. So these you can actually control via Wi-Fi on your phone. So you can set your desired temperature and everything just on an app on your phone. Gives you great controllability, and they're a reasonably cheap unit too. So you can find these on eBay. This is the first one that I've been testing out. So far so good, but we'll see how they go for the longevity. I am a big fan of my Haberstats, and also the simple on-off Reptile 1 Easy Stat as well is quite a good one for bang for buck. But we'll see how these go in the future. So here's the little rough scale python that's going to go into this terrarium. Decided to put the male rough scale in there just because he's got a little bit more attitude. He's not going to require quite as much food as what the female will, just so I can slow grow him a little bit more. So he can be up here for a little bit longer before he obviously outgrows this enclosure and we repurpose it for something else. All that's left to do is to put this little guy into his terrarium. So we better do that before he wiggles around everywhere.
I feel so alone. I wait
So there you have it, guys. Just another little simple display enclosure video. So if you like this video, make sure to give us a comment, give us a like as well, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And from me and this little roughie, we'll see you next time.